Again, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, Mr. Tomo2304 here, bringing you my review of Bleach 501 with the clever title Here, Fear, Here. It's clever because the first here is spelt like here, and the second here is spelt as in come here. So it's like you're hearing fear here and you're calling fear towards you. You'll know why it's a clever title later on, we'll get onto that. But it starts off with Ichigo still trapped in the cage, the jail that Jopi stuck him in a couple of chapters back. And he still can't use, he's trying to break out of it, gets a Gotensho, won't break it, it's just blowing up inside the jail, and actually he seems to be hurting him. But then he hears a noise, it's like a crackling of it on his phone, and he looks at it and he sees that Kisuke has been disconnected from him. Obviously we know why, because something happened at the end of last chapter. And Ichigo tries to contact him, he tries to get Urahara on the phone, nothing happens. And then the mystery person at the end of the last chapter is... oh. Byakuya! No, we're back in Soul Society. Well, I don't really care, because to be honest, this was a fantastic chapter anyway. We see Byakuya with an enormous splatter of blood coming straight out of his shoulder, and he darts backwards. Renji rushes in to try and help him, but Byakuya barks at him to stay back. As he says, it's foolish to attack the enemy together when you don't know what their powers are. One of you should stay back and watch and analyse the fight. Renji says that he should be the one attacking then, but Byakuya says, well, maybe jokingly, but probably not, that he doesn't think he's smart enough to lure out the opponent's powers. And Renji kind of sheepishly agrees with him. So Byakuya says he'll beat the enemy soon enough, stay there and watch. But then he has a bit of an inner monologue as he's commenting it's a bit weird. He doesn't understand, his limbs feel like they're freezing and he can't move. And he watches his enemy, As Nödt, the sternwriter F. And he wonders if maybe the thorns of light that are circling Nödt contain poison or something. Then we discover that Nödt, who was originally quite silent, is actually just as talkative as some of the other Bleach villains. And he comments, he wonders whether Byakuya realised. He said it's not poison, it's actually something that Byakuya lost a long time ago. Something that he should try and remember. After he became a captain, Byakuya became strong. He became able to completely overpower his enemy, and he just forgot about this thing a long time ago. It's the feeling that is most important for people to survive. And that feeling is fear. Renji can't believe it, he wouldn't put Byakuya and fear in the same sentence. But Nödt comments that Byakuya is a good captain and he resisted his powers well. The average Shinigami would have started screaming in fear and gone mad at the first strike of his arrows, which we've seen already as when Nödt was killing the people of the 6th Division. That guy was wondering why everyone was screaming and going crazy. Their heart would have been unable to resist the shock and they would have been killed. For the ones hit by his arrows, literally anything turns into fear. He then starts monologuing about fear itself. If anything happens, something might go wrong. It's a bit like paranoia as well. Everything looks suspicious and people can't think straight. And here we go. This is some really great character design here. Nödt is completely insane. I mean, he's just talking here and his eyes seem to be rolling up into the back of his head. But yeah, he's pretty impressed that Byakuya is just resisting this fear with just his willpower. He's not says it's surprising, but it's just surprise and doesn't equal fear. Byakuya tries to strike him, but Nödt jumps backwards, and it looks like he uses his defensive bloop as the sword just seems to bounce straight off his chest. But Nödt says that Byakuya has already been captured by his fear of him. But Byakuya says that this is a foolish thought, as he's overcome his fear. He's never repressed it, he's just fought and gotten over it. He's acknowledged his fear, and he's gained the strength to defeat it. The fear of Rukia. So when we see Rukia, and fear is just, duh! What is that? We see Byakuya's vision of a picture of Rukia, smiling face, and then she decays and becomes a skeleton. Her eyes hanging out, skin is melting off, her hair is disappearing. Yeah, it's pretty gruesome. This is one of the most gruesome things I think Kubo's drawn. But yeah, so Byakuya sees this in his mind and he's just paralysed with fear. Nödt then blasts him through the chest. Byakuya was completely oblivious. Nödt says that you weren't moving. Fear can be overcome. This is what experienced fighters tend to believe anyway. Reason with a fear with a reason is gentle. Because you can stop if you're scared of something for a reason, you can stop it with experience and with willpower. And if you know the reason, you can wipe it away by eliminating the source. But Nödt says that real fear doesn't have a reason, because it's not a feeling, it's just an instinct. Real fear has no reason and no limit, so it's just like bugs crawling on your body. We can't escape it. And this chapter's had some really great imagery in it, actually. Now we see Byakuya, and he's just in a mound of flies. They're all crawling up in, and then they start going in his mouth. It's really quite disgusting and disturbing. We've never seen anything like this in Bleach before. Byakuya flips out. He tries to strike Nödt, but Nödt's already leapt up into the sky. And then he activates his Bankai stealing medallion that we've seen him use before. One of Byakuya's petals floats across the battlefield near Rukia. She turns, possibly worried, possibly concerned that he's had to use his weapon, unknown, of course, that Byakuya is not using his weapon. Instead, he's been struck down by his own Zanpakuto Senbon Zakura, as Nödt looks on rather creepily. So Byakuya has been shredded, his Hayori is shredded, his Hakamo is shredded, there's blood everywhere, it's just coming up like that. A bit like in the Soul Society arc when he attacked Ganju and Renji. I mean, we've seen this happen to opponents before, but never to Byakuya himself. So yeah, I thought, even though we didn't see the mystery person at the end of chapter 500, this was a very good chapter. We see more of the Byakuya versus Nödt. Nödt absolutely destroys him. He's so cool. I think Nödt he's definitely my favourite Sturmritter. He's got a great character design. He's creepy as hell. He's completely insane. He's got really cool powers. It almost seems unbeatable because everyone has a fear. I mean, like, you might say that Kenpachi should fight him because he doesn't fear anything. But, I mean, if Kenpachi saw a dead Yashiro, I think he might flip out as well. So, yeah, is Byakuya dead? I mean, he's just been torn apart with his own Shikai, blasted through the chest, cut through the shoulder. I mean, that's a lot of damage. I know our Shinigami heroes rarely die, but we've already seen Chojiro kick the bucket. And Kira is looking worse for wear as well. I don't think Renji's going to fight Byakuya, because he has the same fear as Byakuya does, the fear of seeing Rukia get killed or hurt or whatever. So Nödt will be able to take him out as well. So as for that, I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe Renji's going to try and escape. I don't think Nödt would let them escape, personally, but it was a good chapter. I'm not sure when we're going to go back to Hoikamundo and see Kurge. I'm not sure when Ichigo's going to get out. I'm not sure how Ichigo's going to get out. As for the mystery person, I still think logic dictates it's Grimjo. But, yeah, again, this was a very good chapter. I'm glad we're seeing more of the Sturmritter battles, because they are probably some of the most interesting villains Bleach has ever had. They're some of the strongest ones. They're going toe-to-toe with the captains and quite easily defeating them. I think the next series of chapters are going to show Komamura, Soifon and Toshiro all being beaten with their own Zanpakuto like Byakuya has in this effect. But yeah, final thoughts. As Nödt's Sturmritter ranking, his F probably stands for fear, just like Kurge's J stood for jail. It's interesting, this system. It's encapsulating their strongest abilities. But yeah, I mean, what did you think of the chapter? What do you think of Nödt's abilities and the fairly gruesome but pretty amazing imagery we had in this chapter? Leave a comment in the section below, and I will see you next week for the next chapter of Bleach. See you later.